on high alert. Signals from the White House tonight warn of a possible Iran attack on Israel in retaliation for Israel's killing of Hezbollah commanders, that it could come as soon as this week. What Israel now says and how it's positioning personnel on the ground to prepare for a potential attack, and what it could spell for the region as world leaders try to stop a bigger regional conflict from occurring. Plus, Obama, Biden, Clinton, and more, how the Democratic Party is previewing their convention just 1 week away from political heavy hitters, while Donald Trump marks his return to the platform formerly known as Twitter, sitting down with its own controversial CEO and Trump supporter Elon Musk. And
when we went back and picked up Christopher's ashes, I stopped at the store where he bought it, and I asked him if he recognized Christopher because I had his picture. He said, yeah. I said, he buy some of this stuff? And pointed to the tea and Epstein. He said, I said, he's dead.
It's being called gas station heroin, and it's still legal in some states. Medical experts say it can have devastating health consequences. In tonight's Prime Focus, our in-depth look at the toll some say it's taken on their families. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the significant earthquake that rocked Los Angeles as the second largest school district in the country kicked off their first day of school. Officials are now warning residents to prepare for aftershocks. Plus, why more than half of the country is now reporting, quote, very high levels of COVID activity. And the history made at the weekend box office after Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively made history as the first married couple to top the box office in more than 3 decades. The amount their 2 films raked in, and the other Hollywood couple they just surpassed when we take a look by the numbers. But we do begin with the escalating tensions in the Middle East and the United States moving to send additional resources in the event that Iran retaliates for the killing of top Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. A guided missile submarine, the USS Georgia, is now headed to the area in a rare public announcement of a location of an offensive submarine filled with missiles. And there's a second aircraft carrier headed to the region as well. This comes as Israel's military is said to be at peak readiness as world leaders, the U.S., Britain, France, Germany, and Italy, urged Iran to stand down its ongoing threats of a military attack against Israel. Right now, discussions about a ceasefire in Gaza are scheduled to resume on Thursday. So what comes next in the region? Lieutenant General Douglas Lute is standing by. But first, Tom Sufi-Burge leads us off from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, an attack from Iran or its proxies on Israel, now expected this week, say U.S. officials. Those officials cautiously optimistic Iran will limit the scope of its actions to avoid significant escalation. But the White House saying it has to be prepared for what could be a, quote, significant set of attacks. Iran and Hezbollah doubling down on their threats to retaliate for 2 high-profile assassinations in Tehran and Beirut. The IDF now on high alert as the US moves more military assets to the Middle East, revealing a guided missile submarine whose location is normally top secret is heading to the region.
What we're focused on is continuing to de-escalate diplomatically. Our hope and our intent is to make sure that an attack doesn't happen.
Overnight, Hezbollah probing Israeli defences, firing dozens of rockets into northern Israel, most of them intercepted by the Iron Dome. Israeli blood banks and fortified underground hospitals preparing for an attack. It comes as Hamas, another ally of Iran, signals it won't enter into a new round of Gaza ceasefire and hostage talks because it says it already accepted a deal weeks ago. And tonight, the IDF reacting to a Hamas claim that Hamas's own guards in 2 separate incidents shot and killed a hostage and seriously wounded 2 other people being held captive. The IDF saying it has no intelligence to refute or confirm Hamas's claims.
And Tom Sufi-Burge joins us now from Tel Aviv. Tom, Israel's defense minister and prime minister had a very public disagreement on the very aim of this war. What can you tell us on that front?
Yeah, it's a pretty extraordinary situation, Lindsay, if you think Israel at war on multiple fronts, the threat of a wider war looming, and you have the Prime Minister accusing the Defence Minister of adopting an anti-Israel narrative. What Netanyahu was criticising the Defence Minister for was his comments questioning whether all-out victory in Gaza, the idea that you can completely destroy Hamas, is achievable. And this doesn't just speak about the divisions within the Israeli leadership. It also talks about the divisions between the Netanyahu government and the Biden administration, because the defense minister here in Israel, Yoav Gallant, is more aligned with the Biden administration when it comes to how and when to end the war in Gaza. Lindsay?
Tom Soufi-Burge reporting from Tel Aviv. Tom, thank you. And our coverage continues now, this conflict, with analysis from Lieutenant General Douglas Lute, former U.S. ambassador to NATO and ABC News contributor. Thank you so much for joining us. What scale of counterattack is Iran threatening?
Well, they're threatening by way of preparations, and the preparations that we can detect with our intelligence services, a massive counterattack, and potentially one that differs from the last attack in April. This time, perhaps, having a bigger role played by Iran's proxy forces. So Hezbollah in Lebanon, but also other proxies across Syria, Iraq, and the Houthis in Yemen. So this could be a significant scale attack.
Do you think that this attack, if it happens, would mark a turning point in the broadening of this war?
I think it depends on the effects. You know, last time Iran attacked from Iranian territory directly on Israel back in April, they launched some 300 missiles and drones, but had very minimal impact on Israel itself. So the defense was very effective back in April. This time could be very different. And if there are mass casualties, if there are large-scale effects, you can imagine that we could be well down a escalatory spiral that could take us into very dangerous places.
The president posted a photo of his call today with the leaders of France, Germany, Italy, and the UK, in which they called on Iran to stand down on their ongoing threats. But Hezbollah has said that the attack is now inevitable. With ceasefire talks now stalled, do you think that it might be too late?
Well, it may be. But it's also true that Iran is the initiator here. It has the initiative. So it can choose to attack at a time and at a place of its own, at its own advantage. So it may be that we're receiving signals of an imminent attack, but it may be that Iran also chooses to wait. And that's because it takes time to assemble the attack, but it also takes time to assemble the defense. And Iran has given Israel and its supporters like the U.S. 2 weeks of preparation time now. So Iran may, at the end of the day, step back and look for another opportunity.
Do you think that that's realistic?
No one does, right? This decision rests with the leaders in Tehran. I'm only offering that there's an alternative to an imminent attack, and that is one that is delayed to cause a frustration, to cause delay of the defenses. Right now, the defensive posture is quite strong, as your reports have indicated. So it may be that Iran takes a deep breath and chooses to attack later.
What have Iran and its proxies warned in terms of timing of an attack?
Not much. It's only that there will be an attack in response to the Israeli actions against Hamas and Iranian leaders in the region. And then, of course, our intelligence services have picked up the physical evidence of an imminent attack. So this is preparation of launch sites for drones and missiles, probably communications between Tehran and its proxy forces across the region. So there are certainly intelligence indicators, or we would not have had the very clear statement coming out of the White House today about the imminence of an attack.
Lieutenant General Douglas Lute, we thank you so much for your time and insight. Now to the earthquake that rocked Los Angeles today. The 4.4 quake was centered just a few miles north of downtown L.A. County officials activated earthquake mode, deploying firefighters across the area. Tonight, authorities are warning millions to be prepared for aftershocks. Here's ABC's Melissa Don.
Tonight, millions bracing for aftershocks. After a significant earthquake rattled Southern California. The magnitude 4.4 quake centered under the Highland Park neighborhood of Los Angeles around 12:20 p.m. local time, and it was felt all over L.A.
It was a jolt and then the building just started to shake violently.
As we have a bit of an earthquake here in Los Angeles.
ESPN's Malika Andrews was on the air talking basketball when it hit.
That's an earthquake. That's an earthquake.
Oh, wow, that is a real earthquake.
Whoa, that is a real one, guys.
The radio studio also broadcasting live.
How big was that one?
The scientists at the U.S. Geological Survey ducking for cover themselves.
This is my first quake in seismology.
It's a pretty good joule. Nothing was knocked over, but I think almost everybody felt it.
The quake bursting a pipe near the top of Pasadena's City Hall, where someone was briefly stuck in an elevator.
Our crews discovered that a sprinkler head at the very top of the rotunda, actually the piping broke, causing a water flow.
Authorities evacuating students out of this middle school on the first day of school for many LASD students. The LA Fire Department activating earthquake mode, fanning out into neighborhoods all over the city, inspecting for damage.
ABC's Melissa Don joins us now from Pasadena. And Melissa, as those fire officials span out across the county, any reports so far of further damage?
Linsey, so far there's no reports of substantial damages or injuries, but still the city of LA and LA County officials are monitoring this as they're also awaiting any possible aftershocks. Linsey?
Number of people just a little shaken up by it all, though. Melissa Don, our thanks to you. Now to the race for the White House, just 85 days until Election Day, 1 week until the Democratic convention, and tonight new polls in some battleground states show a dramatic shift. Vice President Kamala Harris is now ahead of Donald Trump in 3 key states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, 50-46. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
Tonight, new battleground polling shows a radically changed race for the White House, with 85 days to go. Vice President Kamala Harris now leading former President Donald Trump in 3 crucial Rust Belt states, states where Trump and President Biden were virtually tied, with Trump having the edge. Now in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Harris leading Trump among likely voters 50-46% within the margin of error. Harris and running mate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, fresh off their first week together, blitzing the battlegrounds.
We have the momentum, and I know exactly what we are up against.
Her campaign blasting Trump for not doing the same, saying Vice President Harris is the only candidate out on the campaign trail in swing states fighting to win this election. Okay by us. That new polling also showing enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket has skyrocketed since Harris became the nominee. Supporters showing up by the thousands to Harris-Walz rallies. The campaign says 14,000 people attended the rally in Philadelphia, while at least 15,000 were in the crowds in Phoenix and Detroit. Trump now falsely suggesting this image of the crowd in Detroit was produced by artificial intelligence. Posting on social media, has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. It's just not true. Video and images from these events clearly show the crowds the Harris campaign is reporting. Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, making this crack in Phoenix.
It's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything. Wow.
And while Harris's campaign says they've been in the battlegrounds, Donald Trump tonight plans to be interviewed by Elon Musk on X, formerly known as Twitter. Trump going after Harris for vowing to eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers, an idea he first proposed.
Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
The former president accusing Harris of copying his idea, saying this was a Trump idea. She has no ideas. She can only steal from me. But Vice President Harris taking it a step further, saying not only should taxes on tips be eliminated, but the minimum wage should be raised too.
When I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America. Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Selena Wang joins us now from the White House. And Selena, of course, we're just 1 week away from the Democratic National Convention kicking off next Monday in Chicago. What are you hearing about the lineup?
Well, Lindsay, the Harris campaign is hoping to ride this momentum all the way to the convention. Sources say that former Presidents Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton are all expected to speak there, as well as President Biden. And today, the White House saying that the president is looking forward to this convention and speaking directly to the American people about the stakes of this election. Lindsay?
Selena Wang from the White House. Thanks so much, Selena. As children across the country head back to school, more than half of U.S. states are now reporting very high levels of COVID activity. According to the latest wastewater data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, viral spread continues to increase in many parts of the country. At least 27 states are reporting very high levels, and 17 states are reporting high levels, with the worst levels in the West. Updated COVID vaccines are expected to be available this fall. Now to Ukraine's surprise incursion into Russia. Ukrainian troops gaining ground as much as 380 square miles and more than 100,000 people forced to evacuate. The move has reportedly rattled Vladimir Putin, who is now rushing troops and equipment for a counterattack. It's the biggest occupation of Russian territory by a foreign army since World War II. Here's ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell.
Tonight, the surprise Ukrainian offensive inside Russia expanding into another region. Video circulating online showing troops raising the blue and yellow flag of Ukraine in occupied villages. The commander-in-chief of Ukrainian forces tonight claiming they've taken around 380 square miles of Russian territory. Some estimate they could be as deep as 18 miles inside Russia. Thousands of Ukrainian troops are believed to have crossed into two border areas in the last week, around Kursk and now Belgorod, two places used to launch attacks on Ukraine. This is the moment a Ukrainian missile came crashing down in Kursk after being intercepted, seen in video online. Fierce firefights have been reported as Russia urgently sends in defensive units, attacking with drones and aircraft. Over 100,000 residents forced to flee their homes in a mirror image of the Russian occupation of Ukrainian towns and villages. President Zelensky confirming the operation, which has been shrouded in secrecy. Today, a rattled Putin holding an emergency meeting, ordering the defense ministry to push to kick the enemy out of our territory. Facts are few, but this is the biggest occupation of Russian territory by a foreign army since the Second World War. Russia claiming American and NATO military equipment is being used, which would be a potential breach of agreements, but no evidence is being offered.
Ian Pannell joins us now. Ian, what's the objective for Ukrainian forces here?
Yeah, I think a question many people are asking, not least Vladimir Putin. What he's saying is that this is an attempt by Ukraine to try and improve its hand in any potential peace talks in the future. In other words, if it holds on to land, then it can swap it for Ukrainian territory that's been occupied by Russia. But make no mistake, I think it's an embarrassing blow for the Kremlin. I think two key questions tonight. How much Russian territory can Ukraine take, and is it able to hold on to it? Ukraine's not saying very clearly what its aim is, but it's also, I think, trying to alleviate pressure on its own front lines. In other words, forcing Russian troops away from Ukraine to try and defend its own territory back home. Lindsay?
Ian Pannell for us. Thanks so much, Ian. Now to Greece, where a major wildfire in the northern suburbs of Athens is racing toward the capital. The fast-moving fire broke out Sunday, fueled by heat and strong winds. Flames more than 80 feet high have swallowed homes and cars, and authorities have ordered the evacuation of more than 30,000 residents. Firefighters say flames have reached the deepest into the capital than in any of the last 20 years, casting a blanket of smoke and ash over Athens' famous monuments. And in the Caribbean, there's a new tropical storm to track, even as the effects of Hurricane Debbie are still being felt. Ernesto is triggering tropical storm warnings for Puerto Rico and several other islands. ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z joins us now with a look at the details. Hey, Ginger.
Lindsay, we barely got a breath after Debbie, and it's time for Ernesto, which formed about 10 days before the average fifth named storm of the season. So it's a little early. We know we're going to have a busy season because of all of the impacts, like going away from El Nino and the warm waters. But look at this thing. It's now just trying to get its life together and become an actual storm with a center eventually here. As it approaches the northern Lesser Antilles, it'll go fast. I mean, it's moving right now at 28 miles per hour to the west, but it will eventually then turn right near Puerto Rico, and it's St. Kitts, St. Martin. So so many of them under tropical storm warnings. Biggest impact's going to be rain, widespread 3 to 6 inches, and you could end up with locally 10 inches. But watch as the storm starts to make that turn to the north. A lot of that, I'll explain in a bit, has to do with the driving factors of the Bermuda High and a big trough in the east. But Bermuda itself is in the crosshairs, or at least close to it, by the weekend. So they're hoping to have one way or another. Either way, it does appear that most of the east coast remains away from Ernesto, and that has to do with the Bermuda High sinking just to the south, and then that trough kind of keeping it and steering it east of us. Either way, though, we will have, starting on the weekend, going through early next week, high surf and some rip current danger all along the East Coast thanks to this storm. Lindsay.
All right, no break at all there. Ginger Z, our thanks to you. Tonight, police are searching for dozens of teenagers responsible for a brutal attack on a driver in downtown Los Angeles. Video shows roughly 40 teens swarming the victim's car, beating him, robbing him, and heavily damaging the vehicle. The attack continues until another driver jumps in to pull him away from the mob. The victim, who was seeking asylum and a safer life in Los Angeles, suffered bruises all over his body and a broken leg. His passport and wallet were stolen. No arrests have been made. In a stunning turn, Team USA Gymnastics said that its effort to restore gymnast Jordan Childs' bronze medal on the floor exercise has been turned down. She was asked to return the bronze medal in the floor exercise in a controversy over the scoring. The Court of Arbitration for Sport says the U.S. appeal at the time that ended up with Childs winning the bronze was made 4 seconds too late. The medal now goes to Romania's Ana Barbosu. USA Gymnastics said in a statement they will continue to pursue every possible avenue and appeal that decision. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime tonight. Body camera video shows the heart-stopping moments as police officers rescued a woman from a burning building. But next, can you find it on the shelves? You can find it on the shelves of almost any convenience store, but the FDA is urging consumers not to ingest it. In tonight's Prime Focus, a closer look at what's being called gas station heroin and how some say it's damaged lives.
When I started doing them, I was like, there's no way that they're this bad for you if they're selling them over the counter.
There was a specific moment during our wedding. I looked at Jason, I looked at my children, and I realized this was real. That was my husband, and this was our family. We live in a very beautiful place, and sometimes the beauty masks what really is going on. Jason seemed happy. We all just thought the world of him.
This is her knight in shining armor.
Everything felt right. All of a sudden, I found this hidden folder. I opened it, and I don't think I can say it. I'm sorry. I just need a break.
She put her hand to her mouth and gasped. It's shocking, gut-wrenching.
I realized that my life will never be the same. Jason would kill me before he would let me tell anyone this part of him.
He is in so much freaking trouble.
My stomach just dropped. I remember just feeling like, what the hell? That was my dad. It did not feel real. It felt so shocking, what is going on?
Never in a million years did I ever think Jason capable of something so horrific. What did I miss?
That's when that fire inside of me shifted to a flame. I was like, it's on. I lured Jason to a public place. The whole police squad pulls up. I hear the most awful sound, blood curdling out of this world scream. And I realized it was coming out of me.
Betrayal is one of the hardest types of trauma to overcome.
Those letters and those apologies were to make him feel better.
Everything that he said was a lie. How could he do this? He just really didn't think I had it in me to do something. So I did.
Betrayal, a Father's Secret. The all-new season, only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
Friday morning, it's G-Easy. Good Morning America and you. Jumpstarting your summer weekend hot. Only on Good Morning America's Summer Concert Series. Sponsored by Wayfair.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up. Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer, only on Hulu.
Welcome back, everyone. Somewhere near the painkillers and cold medicine, you may see another substance at your local convenience store, tianeptine. The FDA is urging consumers not to use it, but it is still legal in many states and available at smoke shops and gas stations. According to America's Poison Control Centers, reported cases of exposure skyrocketed in the course of a decade, from 4 in 2013 to 391 last year. ABC's Rena Roy takes a deeper look at what's being called gas station heroin and the toll it's taking on some families.
Why would they put something in a gas station or a store that you could just go in and purchase?
It's very invigorating. It's a distraction from reality.
It claims to promote relaxation and euphoria, an alluring promise. With so many options of tianeptine to choose from, whether it's at your local convenience store, smoke shop, or even online,
there's so many different kinds.
Does this substance live up to its claim?
It's absolutely not happiness in a bottle.
Tianeptine, now banned in at least 9 states, earning the nickname gas station heroin for its opioid-like effects. We chatted with a few former manufacturers of the most popular brands of tianeptine.
And he says, like kratom, the ability to overdose is almost impossible with tianeptine, and the news agencies making all these death claims are simply lies.
None of the manufacturers would go on camera with us out of fear of retaliation, but insist the product is safe, helpful even.
Some people say that tianeptine can actually help keep people off of opioids. That's a very dangerous line of thinking.
We just pulled into our hometown.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memories here in Pinson, Alabama for Christy Terry.
He was constantly playing pranks on people.
In the passenger seat and brimming with pride for her son Jonathan as his childhood friend Lucy drives, recalling his bright future. At 19 years old, Jonathan, with a full ride at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, was studying business and theater, working in real estate, close to getting licensed. A goofball. And big brother to his 2 sisters, his own unique style and a favorite color, teal. The avid skateboarder always wearing 2 chains, and this ring engraved with crosses.
Jonathan's always had very strong faith in God. He loved going and serving the homeless every Sunday. For years, he did that.
It's a ring Christy now wears after Jonathan, who was known to suffer from migraines, came down with an especially bad one in February of 2019. She says he went to a nearby gas station looking for something to soothe his symptoms.
So why do you think he ended up buying tianeptine that day?
He told his dad that they had recommended him to him. So I got out of bed and went to Jonathan's room. And he was on the bed, and he still had his computer up, and he had a plate with pizza rolls on it in the bed next to him, and it was like he was in a deep sleep. We didn't know at the time, but he was already gone.
Over the course of the night, Jonathan had taken 12 of the 15 pills in that bottle of tianeptine. The bottle suggested only 2 pills a day.
All I knew that he had took them pills for a headache, but I had no idea that they would have took his life.
And to your knowledge, he had never taken any drugs before?
No.
The autopsy report shows he'd choked on his own vomit. In his system, prescription medication for preventing migraines and seizures, and a high level of tianeptine. The medical examiner wrote that while there was no way of knowing what actually killed him, he'd seen a similar amount of tianeptine in someone else's system before. That person also died. Bedridden with grief for months, one of her first big outings, a trip to Montgomery, coming face to face with the owner of Tiana, the brand of tianeptine Jonathan had taken.
I have spoke to one fine lady here up front who's a poor mother that her son has passed away, and it breaks my heart.
He tried to say that that my son probably had some kind of underlying allergy to his supplement.
There are other people that are benefiting from this product, and to just turn around and start banning products without having solid meaning behind it, then where does it stop?
At the University of Alabama at Birmingham, the school Jonathan attended, Dr. William Rushton, who specializes in emerging drugs of abuse, says he finds tianeptine contains few upsides with easy potential for addiction.
Tianeptine is used as an antidepressant in other countries. However, the more we learned about it is really it turns out that it hits the same receptors that opioids hit.
Tianeptine now banned in Alabama, no longer available in convenience stores. But until 2023, in neighboring Mississippi, sales continued. This is one of the few videos Tracy Harper Morrison has of her 29-year-old son, Christopher. He died almost exactly 4 years after Jonathan.
I remember him telling me that he felt closest to God outdoors. Nature, he loved nature. He played guitar. He loved his guitar.
And you said one of the songs that you used to sing with him was You Are My Sunshine.
I tell him to play me something calm, and he just kind of pick it out.
He and his sister were close. They both struggled with addiction to tianeptine. Christopher seeking a way to fight his depression. And while struggling with cravings last February, his mom gave him a pep talk.
I told him I was going to cash app him some money and said, go downstairs. There's a coffee shop under the house. I said, go downstairs. Just sit there and enjoy being around people.
It would be the last time she'd hear from him, finding him in his apartment days later.
And I went inside, and there he was. He'd been there a couple of days. I laid down with him, and I scratched his back, and I rubbed his hair. He always wanted me to play with my hair, Mom. I scratched my back, and I did. One last time, and I gave him back to God.
The toxicology report came back. Tianeptine was in his system.
When we went back and picked up Christopher's ashes, I stopped at the store where he bought it, and I asked him if he recognized Christopher because I had his picture. He said, yeah. I said, he buy some of this stuff? And pointed to the tianeptine. He said, I said, he's dead.
Even a child could go to a convenience store and purchase the substance. So I had to educate many of my colleagues about what it was.
Months later, tianeptine would be banned in Mississippi. Christopher's mother and grandmother standing next to the governor for the bill's signing.
It was a bittersweet day. His death will actually help to save lives in the future.
At our nation's capital, a bipartisan group of 5 representatives sent a letter to the FDA calling for a more national approach to see if tianeptine should be reclassified under the Controlled Substances Act. We reached out to the FDA asking if it plans to toughen regulation towards tianeptine or kratom, a similar product widely sold. It said in part, we've issued warning letters to companies unlawfully marketing kratom and tianeptine products as dietary supplements and drugs. We will continue to collaborate with federal partners to engage proactively in meaningful research to advance science-based regulatory decision-making.
When do you feel like you'll be able to rest?
Oh, I won't rest until it is banned nationally.
But for now, a simple search showed us how easy it still is to buy tianeptine online. And even with a quick trip to a New York City smoke shop.
You had this new car and you racked up a ton of miles because you were driving all the way from Alabama to Mississippi where it wasn't banned.
I had about 40,000 miles on the car. About a year and a few months later, we had 80,000 miles. So in a little over a year, we put 40,000 miles on that car.
Hannah Gilliam is now 2 years sober from tianeptine.
I was going through $50 a day if I was taking 2 bottles a day. So $350 a week.
What did those withdrawal symptoms feel like?
It was miserable. I have withdrawed from heroin. I've withdrawed from pain pills. I've withdrawn, pain pills that were come with fentanyl, and they don't even measure close to what those withdrawals from tianeptine felt like.
Was it surprising to you that withdrawal could be that severe, even compared to heroin?
When I started doing them, I was like, there's no way that they're this bad for you if they're selling them over the counter. I didn't think that I would live to see 21. I was either going to stay in active addiction until I died or not be alive for my 21st.
Hannah, now 22 years old and in nursing school, strengthened by her faith, grateful for a new beginning.
My flowers It gives me a sense of peace being able to decorate it, because I feel like that's still me being able to mother him. But it gives me a sense of still being able to take care of him.
No mother should ever have to put their child, and no friend should have to come and visit a grave.
I don't want any other mother to go through what I'm going through, because it's a pain like nothing else. I love you.
Nothing like the pain of a parent who has lost a child. Our thanks to Rena for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, what we're learning about a strong blast that left a home in pieces and what may have caused it. But next, a husband and wife showdown at the box office. We look at the results of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' big movies, and another famous couple once in the same boat. By the numbers.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello. Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
as opposed to like
a brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You
Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food.
It's all coming up on GMA 3.
You're gonna love it. We'll see you then.
GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know.
I love that.
Me too.
I'm Rachel Scott on the campaign trail in Pennsylvania. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. This weekend's box office featured a husband-wife showdown. Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool and Wolverine versus Blake Lively in It Ends With Us. Here's how it went down by the numbers. Bringing in $54.2 million, Deadpool and Wolverine remain the top movie for a third straight week. But close behind, It Ends With Us surpassed expectations with a stellar $50 million debut. And if we're keeping score, that's 3 points for Lively. She makes a cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, and both star in and produced It Ends With Us. The romance drama cost a modest $25 million to produce, promising a tidy profit for its financiers. Lively and Reynolds are the first couple to go 1-2 at the box office in 34 years. Back in 1990, Bruce Willis in Die Hard 2 led the box office, while Demi Moore's Ghost came in second. Of course, Ghost, though, went on to become the year's top-grossing movie domestically and gained several Oscar nominations and wins. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime. How the federal government could step in to make customer service calls more personal again. And Broadway's Joshua Boone talks to us about why the Tony Award-winning production The Outsiders should be on your list of must-see shows.
ABC News, honored for excellence with 40 Emmy nominations. Mornings, evenings, late night, weekends, streaming 24/7. 40 Emmy nominations. Thank you for making ABC News America's #1 news. Starting next Monday, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz make their case for the White House. See it all streaming on ABC News Live. Non-stop coverage. David Muir and Linsey Davis reporting live at the Democratic National Convention on ABC News Live.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
I love that so much.
GMA Life. Streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning.
To catch you up with what happened overnight, police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about, the migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward,
with some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here. ABC's David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. More Americans watch World News Tonight with David Muir than any other newscast.
Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Shohei Ohtani, legends of the game. But now the list of greats redefined. From ABC News, Reclaim the Forgotten League, a side of the story of baseball you have never heard before like this. The award-winning podcast is back. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or scan the QR codes you see here.
Now streaming on Hulu.
I'm a rock and roll star. I'm not a saint. I'm John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi. The new special, what you have not yet seen. John Bon Jovi with Michael Strahan. Now streaming on Hulu. Friday night, the infamous case that had everyone talking.
It has sex, betrayal, and murder.
And now, after 34 years in prison, Pamela Smart, her emotional, stunning new admission. 2020, Friday night on ABC.
Wherever news breaks, ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there. Jury selection begins in a high-profile case involving the fatal shooting of a mother of 4. Dramatic video shows police officers saving a woman from a burning apartment, and 2 decades after her death, music icon Celia Cruz makes history. These stories and much more in tonight's Rundown.
A jury's been seated in the trial of a Florida woman accused of shooting and killing her neighbor last year. Susan Lawrence is charged in the death of Jika Owens, a black mother of 4, after Owens came to talk to her about a dispute involving her children. The attorney for Owens' family told ABC News 2 of her children will be called to testify in the trial. Lawrence, who is facing several charges, has pleaded not guilty. Dramatic body cam video shows NYPD officers rescuing a woman from a burning apartment building in Queens. The rescue happened July 19th, with officers navigating through heavy smoke before finding the woman and bringing her to safety. 6 responding officers were treated for smoke inhalation, while the woman refused medical attention and eventually returned to her apartment. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A woman was arrested in the murder of her newborn daughter 37 years after the baby was found dead in a California dumpster. Melissa Jean Allen Avila was arrested in North Carolina and extradited 4 years after officials reopened the case and used DNA and forensic technology to get an arrest. The child was found dead on October 13, 1987, in a dumpster behind a Riverside business. Officials believe the baby was born within hours of being abandoned. The National Transportation Safety Board has joined the investigation into a natural gas explosion that killed 2 people at a Maryland home. The victims of the Sunday morning blast in Bel Air were identified as 73-year-old Ray Corcoran Jr., the homeowner, and 35-year-old Jose Rodriguez Alvarado, a contractor for Baltimore Gas and Electric. The explosion damaged blocks of nearby houses, leaving at least 12 families displaced. The White House is introducing new initiatives to ease customer service headaches. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is trying to reduce so-called doom loops that force customers to speak to automated representatives, with a plan that would require companies to let customers talk to a human representative with the push of a button. The Federal Trade Commission is also working on a rule to make it easier to cancel subscriptions with just 1 click, which could apply to gyms, apps, and internet and cable memberships. Keep an eye out for new U.S. quarters now in circulation, featuring late Cuban singer Celia Cruz, known for songs like La Vida es un Carnaval. The legendary singer is the first Afro-Latina person to appear on U.S. currency. She was one of 5 women chosen to be honored in the U.S. Mint's American Women Quarters program, which continues through 2025. For Cruz, that year holds extra significance. It marks 100 years since she was born.
The 2024 Tony Award winner for Best Musical takes place in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1967 and tells the story of a chosen family of outsiders in a fight for survival and a quest for purpose in a world that may never accept them. Tracing the hopes and bonds that brothers share, it's a story of friendship, family, belonging, and the realization that there is still lots of good in the world. Let's take a look. Joining us now is Joshua Boone, who plays Dallas Winston in the Broadway hit The Outsiders, a new musical. Joshua, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So for the youngsters out there who are not familiar with The Outsiders, I remember it was required reading. I think I was in middle school, had to read it. The book came out in 67, and the movie in 83 brought to the big screen by Francis Ford Coppola. Now, Angelina Jolie helped to bring it to the stage. What's your relationship like with The Outsiders?
Well, it was that pretty much. It was required reading for me in the 7th grade.
Okay.
From there, it was my favorite book when I first read it, and then from there, I saw the movie in 11th grade, and who knew that I would be at the juncture where it becomes a musical, but I think it's in its optimum form in this way, and I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Why do you think that this does it have more texture, or why on stage better than the book or movie?
Well, I think like there's something about storytelling where, you know, you have your imagination when it's on the book, you know, when it's presented in front of you in film and TV form, you have the characters projected onto you. You don't imagine them. But there's something about living with these people in real time over the course of the story that it just reaches your heart and your mind and your spirit in a way that I don't think the novel or the movie could. So.
It's been about a decade since you were last in a musical. What's it like returning to the stage after that time?
I love that question. You know, I've done plays on Broadway between the last musical I did. I don't think I remember the amount of work that went into a musical. There's so many hands on deck with any production that you do. But with this, like, it has been taxing, you know, but it's been just as rewarding as, you know, all the energy we've put into it to create it. It's like, it's a monster of a feat, and there's no surprise that people are responding the way that they are.
What's so special about working with this cast in particular, including the lead producer, Angelina Jolie?
Well, I think for me, like, I'm the oldest cast member for the first time ever, and just to see people, you know, artists who are so hungry, you know, and eager for the work and to give to people in conjunction with working with Angelina Jolie, who's so giving of her time. Like, the assumption when you hear her name is that, oh, she's just a name. No, her and her daughter were very present throughout the entirety of the process, and just to have them with us, like, you feel them through the story too, you know.
Musical of the Year. The show got 4 Tonys. This was your first Tony nomination. Just tell me about the excitement of all of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I think part of me was relieved, you know, and I know that's not what a lot of people expect to hear, but sometimes in this business, we go after these awards and accolades, and that's not the goal. But for a time, it was. But then to be in a project where I know that it's not about me and still want the world to respond in a very specific way. You know, it wasn't about my nomination per se. It was the fact that we got nominated across the board. We got 12 of them things, you know, and that's where I was just like, yes, you know, it is right. It does feel good in the best way. So.
And you've been doing this for so long. As you said, you were the oldest cast member here.
Yeah.
What is it like now to have the crowds flocking again? I imagine during the pandemic there was a time where you thought, are people ever going to come back and watch live Broadway shows?
Yeah, there was that question, you know, if people would want that proximity again, you know. But it's been very clear that not only do they want the proximity, but they want it time and time again. People are coming back and telling their friends and bringing their friends and coming back and buying tickets as they're leaving the show. You can't beat that. Then the stage door after, like, it's, you know, I don't know what a movement is when it comes to theater, but I do know people are deeply impacted in ways that go beyond just us, you know, telling the story.
The people are certainly moved. Joshua Boone, we thank you so much for coming on the show. And congratulations to all of your success and to the cast as well. You can catch The Outsiders, a new musical on Broadway through January 2025. Disney's D23 event came with big news. Disney, which is the parent company of ABC News, announced several additions at the park, 14 new attractions, including a Coco ride, expansion of the Avengers Experience, Spider-Man thrill coasters, and a new Indiana Jones attraction. Plus, there will be 6 new lands and areas, including a Monsters, Inc. land and a spot just for villains. Also on the upcoming agenda, a new line of blockbusters. Our Rebecca Jarvis shows us some of the magic coming to your screens.
Bursting with big stars and bigger surprises. Sailing from the horizon. D23 was the place to be for a lowdown of what's up in Disney's next line of future blockbuster hits.
It's time I'll tell you a story.
And some brand new, never-before-seen footage.
Hello, what's your name? Mufasa.
In the mighty jungle, a lion waits to make his return to the big screen in Mufasa, the Lion King.
This film has so much history. It's been 30 years since the first Lion King, and now you have Mufasa. That is a lot.
I was a baby when I first watched this, right? So for me, it was Super Dad. Mufasa was Super Dad, and in this story, we've had the opportunity to figure out what moments and journeys and potholes and tunnels and mountains he went over to arrive at the place that we all know him at.
Mufasa, voiced by Aaron Pierre, embodies the iconic king.
We're alive! I did it! I saved us! You were saying?
Embarking on a new journey, fueled by original music from Lin-Manuel Miranda.
You have original songs in the film. What can we expect?
I was so excited to work with Lebo M and Mark Mancina on the arrangements for all my songs because they worked not only on the original movie but the Broadway musical. They will feel like this world we've gotten to know through all these different movies.
I'm very, very happy to see you.
And fans of the 2010 cross-dimensional cult classic Tron Legacy,
Hey, kiddo, lost track of time.
can finally rejoice.
10 years ago, we started working on this idea and kind of put it together brick by brick, and here we are.
As the Tron Ares stars promise to bring a whole new world to life.
I used to play the video game incessantly, and I was obsessed. And I still love the world. What I think is really exciting about this film is, for the first time ever, rather than the real world going to the grid, we bring the grid to the real world.
Greta, what's been your favorite part of the experience?
I mean, there is so much heart in the movie, which I'm really excited about. And I think having that is something that I absolutely appreciate.
He's fast, but I'm faster.
And flying in fresh off her introduction into the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is star of Disney Plus's new series Ironheart, Dominique Thorne.
Hey, yo, they cutting off the bridge.
How is Riri carrying on the legacy of Iron Man here?
It's pretty undeniable that she was inspired. It's fun to get to play someone who sees very little limitations in their self. It's also very inspiring to see how this world has gotten to take shape around her.
Dominique, how does all of this fit into the larger MCU universe?
There's an entire multiverse, of options and possibilities here. And I think that there's been so many exciting alterations and additions that we've seen in the MCU as of late, so it really does feel like anything is possible.
That magic Disney dust on that. Our thanks to Rebecca Jarvis. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Linsey Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, Iran doubles down on its threat to retaliate against Israel, the tactical moves the U.S. is now making. And part of Japan is underwater after a typhoon, the additional threat that's now looming over the country.
It was a regular day for 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
She went to meet her mom at a bowling church league, but she never makes it into the bowling alley. Something terrible had happened to her. Melissa was a good kid. She had big dreams for her life.
And then she disappears.
My gut knew this was not a young girl who just took off and ran away.
New information into the disappearance of Melissa Witt. Pools of blood were found by detectives.
We were sick to our stomachs.
I just love to have her back more than anything in the world.
It is a heart-wrenching day for the family of 19-year-old Melissa Witt.
Police found the body in the Ozark National Forest.
You had several suspects.
All these kinds of leads. Who could have done this?
You have a known serial killer in your area.
Could he be involved?
Find the evidence, find the DNA profile.
We had to find that person. Time was of the essence.
Every blood spot matters. Every piece of DNA matters. You're looking for that game-changing piece.
We're actually finding key evidence that could have slipped through the cracks.
One of our guys says, you're going to see this.
There's another one.
What could be underneath these headstones? Her last hours on this earth were probably the most horrific a person can experience.
This beautiful young girl. Police will find out what happened.
At wit's end, the hunt for a killer. Now streaming only on Hulu.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
Here's to good mornings in America.
Can you feel the love?
Oh, yeah. Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's ray of sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
Make dreams come true. Wow. I'm just so happy. It's so good.
get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
You know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
With so much at stake in our world right now, more Americans turn here to David than anywhere else. And now, America's most trusted, most watched newscast, ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir, is available to you on YouTube. Nightline, the stories that shape your world, that shape your life. Dramatic, stunning, empowering, jaw-dropping. The most powerful stories of our time. Nightline, on right after Kimmel and streaming on Hulu.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Linsey Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including signals from the White House tonight warning of a possible Iran attack on Israel in retaliation for Israel's killing of a top Hamas leader. It could come as soon as this week. What Israel now says and how it's positioning personnel on the ground to prepare for a potential attack, and the submarine the U.S. just sent to the region. Plus, 1 week until the Democratic convention, and tonight new polls in some battleground states show a dramatic shift, and the 15-month war in Africa that could be close to a resolution where talks will soon get underway. But we do begin with those escalating tensions in the Middle East and the United States moving to send additional resources in the event that Iran retaliates for the killing of top Hezbollah and Hamas leaders. A guided missile submarine, the USS Georgia, is now headed to the area in a rare public announcement of a location of an offensive submarine filled with missiles. And there's a second aircraft carrier also headed to the region. This comes as Israel's military is said to be at peak readiness. So what comes next in the region? Tom Sufi-Burge leads us off from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, an attack from Iran or its proxies on Israel, now expected this week, say US officials. Those officials cautiously optimistic Iran will limit the scope of its actions to avoid significant escalation. But the White House saying it has to be prepared for what could be a, quote, significant set of attacks. Iran and Hezbollah doubling down on their threats to retaliate for two high-profile assassinations in Tehran and Beirut. The IDF now on high alert as the US moves more military assets to the Middle East, revealing a guided missile submarine whose location is normally top secret is heading to the region.
What we're focused on is continuing to de-escalate diplomatically. Our hope and our intent is to make sure that an attack doesn't happen.
Overnight, Hezbollah probing Israeli defences, firing dozens of rockets into northern Israel, most of them intercepted by the Iron Dome. Israeli blood banks and fortified underground hospitals preparing for an attack. It comes as Hamas, another ally of Iran, signals it won't enter into a new round of Gaza ceasefire and hostage talks because it says it already accepted a deal weeks ago. And tonight, the IDF reacting to a Hamas claim that Hamas's own guards in two separate incidents shot and killed a hostage and seriously wounded two other people being held captive. The IDF saying it has no intelligence to refute or confirm Hamas's claims.
Tom Sufi-Burge reporting now to the earthquake that rocked Los Angeles today. The 4.4 quake was centered just a few miles north of downtown L.A. Tonight, authorities are warning millions to be prepared for aftershocks. Here's ABC's Melissa Adon.
Tonight, millions bracing for aftershocks. After a significant earthquake rattled Southern California. The magnitude 4.4 quake centered under the Highland Park neighborhood of Los Angeles around 12:20 p.m. local time, and it was felt all over L.A.
It was a jolt
and then the building just started to shake violently.
As we have a bit of an earthquake here in Los Angeles.
ESPN's Malika Andrews was on the air talking basketball when it hit.
That's an earthquake. That's an earthquake.
Oh, wow, that is a real earthquake.
Whoa, that is a real one, guys.
The radio studio also broadcasting live.
How big was that one?
The scientists at the U.S. Geological Survey ducking for cover themselves.
This is my first quake in seismology.
It's a pretty good jolt. Nothing was knocked over, but I think almost everybody felt it.
The quake bursting a pipe near the top of Pasadena's City Hall, where someone was briefly stuck in an elevator.
Our crews discovered that a sprinkler head at the very top of the rotunda, actually the piping broke, causing a water flow.
Authorities evacuating students out of this middle school on the first day of school for many LASD students. The LA Fire Department activating earthquake mode, fanning out into neighborhoods all over the city, inspecting for damage.
Melissa Dunn from L.A. Now to the race for the White House. Just 85 days until Election Day, 1 week until the Democratic convention. And tonight, new polls in some battleground states show a dramatic shift. Vice President Kamala Harris is now ahead of Donald Trump in 3 key states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, 50-46. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Tonight, new battleground polling shows a radically changed race for the White House, with 85 days to go. Vice President Kamala Harris now leading former President Donald Trump in 3 crucial Rust Belt states, states where Trump and President Biden were virtually tied, with Trump having the edge. Now in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, Harris leading Trump among likely voters 50-46% within the margin of error. Harris and running mate Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, fresh off their first week together, blitzing the battlegrounds.
We have the momentum, and I know exactly what we are up against.
Her campaign blasting Trump for not doing the same, saying Vice President Harris is the only candidate out on the campaign trail in swing states fighting to win this election. Okay by us. That new polling also showing enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket has skyrocketed since Harris became the nominee. Supporters showing up by the thousands to Harris-Walz rallies. The campaign says 14,000 people attended the rally in Philadelphia, while at least 15,000 were in the crowds in Phoenix and Detroit. Trump now falsely suggesting this image of the crowd in Detroit was produced by artificial intelligence. Posting on social media, has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane, and she AI'd it and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. It's just not true. Video and images from these events clearly show the crowds the Harris campaign is reporting. Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, making this crack in Phoenix.
It's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything. Wow.
And while Harris's campaign says they've been in the battlegrounds, Trump going after Harris for vowing to eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers, an idea he first proposed.
Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
The former president accusing Harris of copying his idea, saying this was a Trump idea. She has no ideas, she can only steal from me. But Vice President Harris taking it a step further, saying not only should taxes on tips be eliminated, but the minimum wage should be raised too.
When I am president, we will continue our fight for working families of America. Including to raise the minimum wage and eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Selena Wang reporting. Now to Ukraine's surprise incursion into Russia. Ukrainian troops are gaining ground, and the move has reportedly rattled Vladimir Putin, who's now rushing troops and equipment for a counterattack. Here's ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell.
Tonight, the surprise Ukrainian offensive inside Russia expanding into another region.
Video circulating online showing troops raising the blue and yellow flag of Ukraine in occupied villages. The commander-in-chief of Ukrainian forces tonight claiming they've taken around 380 square miles of Russian territory. Some estimate they could be as deep as 18 miles inside Russia. Thousands of Ukrainian troops are believed to have crossed into two border areas in the last week, around Kursk and now Belgorod, two places used to launch attacks on Ukraine. This is the moment a Ukrainian missile came crashing down in Kursk after being intercepted, seen in video online. Fierce firefights have been reported as Russia urgently sends in defensive units, attacking with drones and aircraft. Over 100,000 residents forced to flee their homes in a mirror image of the Russian occupation of Ukrainian towns and villages. President Zelensky confirming the operation, which has been shrouded in secrecy. Today, a rattled Putin holding an emergency meeting, ordering the defense ministry to push to kick the enemy out of our territory. Facts are few, but this is the biggest occupation of Russian territory by a foreign army since the Second World War. Russia claiming American and NATO military equipment is being used, which would be a potential breach of agreements, but no evidence is being offered.
Panel for us. Now to the investigation into that deadly plane crash in Brazil. The black boxes have now been recovered, offering hope for answers about what sent that plane spiraling out of the sky, killing 62 people. ABC's Trevor Ault reports.
Tonight, investigators say they've recovered the black boxes and engines from the debris field of that passenger jet which fell from the sky in Brazil. Dramatic videos capturing the final moments of the twin-engine turboprop plane spinning as it descends and crashing behind a row of trees with smoke then seen billowing from the area. All 62 passengers and crew on board were killed.
Meu Deus, ele tá caindo.
The flight operated by Brazilian airline Voa Pass, taking off from Cascavel, bound for Sao Paulo on Friday. The crash happening shortly before the scheduled landing, with the ATR-72 jet dropping 17,000 feet in just 1 minute. And officials say the pilots did not call for help.
Olha isto.
Wreckage site inside this residential neighborhood outside Sao Paulo. One person on the ground was also injured. And over the weekend, the families of the 62 victims on board gathering together as investigators now work to determine what caused this crash.
Even though it was turning a little bit, it was very clear to any pilot that that was a stall spin situation. And the question is, when did they get into it in terms of altitude, and why could they not get out of it?
Our thanks to Trevor Ault. And in the Caribbean, there's a new tropical storm to track, even as the effects of Hurricane Debbie are still being felt. Ernesto is triggering tropical storm warnings for Puerto Rico and several other islands. ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z joins us now with a look at the details. Hey, Ginger.
Lindsay, we barely got a breath after Debbie, and it's time for Ernesto, which formed about 10 days before the average fifth named storm of the season. So it's a little early. We know we're going to have a busy season because of all of the impacts, like going away from El Nino and the warm waters. But look at this thing. It's now just trying to get its life together and become an actual storm with a center eventually here. As it approaches the northern Lesser Antilles, it'll go fast. I mean, it's moving right now at 28 miles per hour to the west, but it will eventually then turn right near Puerto Rico, and it's St. Kitts, St. Martin, so many of them under tropical storm warnings. Biggest impact's going to be rain, widespread 3 to 6 inches, and you could end up with locally 10 inches. But watch as the storm starts to make that turn to the north. A lot of that, I'll explain in a bit, has to do with the driving factors of the Bermuda High and a big trough in the east. But Bermuda itself is in the crosshairs, or at least close to it, by the weekend. So they're hoping to have one way or another. Either way, it does appear that most of the east coast remains away from Ernesto, and that has to do with the Bermuda High sinking just to the south, and then that trough kind of keeping it and steering it east of us. Either way, though, we will have, starting on the weekend, going through early next week, high surf and some rip current danger all along the east coast thanks to this storm. Lindsay.
All right, no break at all there. Ginger Z, our thanks to you. Still much more to get to coming up. When a doctor saw a need for underserved communities during COVID, she filled it herself. Dr. Ayla Stanford tells us how it inspired her new book. But next, a 15-month war in Africa could be close to resolution. The European city that will serve as the backdrop for these critical talks.
Whenever news breaks,
We are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news. What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions.
Operational nuclear reactor.
So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
David, good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
I watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
I'm Matt Rivers in the Israel-controlled Golan Heights. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. We're tracking several headlines around the world. In northern Japan, Typhoon Maria made landfall this morning, bringing with it torrential rain and gusting wind. 2 days of continuous rain have broken records there, flooding rivers and low-lying areas. And now Japan's meteorological agency is warning residents of the risk of mudslides. Talks to end the 15-month war in Sudan between the army and parliamentary forces will move forward in Geneva this week. It will be the first time both parties have been willing to sit down together in months. The war has caused one of the world's most urgent humanitarian crises, displacing a fifth of the population in Sudan and causing widespread famine. Authorities are investigating the deadly crash of a stolen helicopter in northern Australia. Police say the pilot was killed after the helicopter crashed into the roof of a hotel and ignited a fire. Hundreds of guests were forced to evacuate the hotel at 2 o'clock this morning. Both of the helicopter's rotor blades broke off in the crash, one landing in the hotel's pool. During the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, pediatric surgeon Dr. Ayla Stanford, founder of the Black Doctors Consortium, rented a van and used it to visit church parking lots around her hometown of Philadelphia, where she'd administer COVID tests and vaccinations. Her mission, to combat the health disparities affecting Black communities. In her new book, Take Care of Them Like My Own, Faith, Fortitude, and a Surgeon's Fight for Health Justice, Dr. Stanford chronicles her pandemic experience and highlights her ongoing commitment to addressing inequities that disproportionately impact marginalized communities. Joining us now is Dr. Ayla Stanford. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
I enjoyed reading the book. It really is part memoir, part manifesto. And I'm just curious, what inspired you to write it?
For one, during COVID, we didn't know if we were going to see tomorrow. And someone asked me once, what would make you, in the middle of the pandemic, run to the fire when everyone else was running away from it? You had to know how I got to that point to understand the why. And that's why I wrote it.
One thing that really I found, there were so many things that I found fascinating, but Swamp Poodle, Pennsylvania, you say you have the actual, the average for the life expectancy is the lowest of anywhere else in this country. And so I want to just draw a straight line between race and economics and how that implies with healthcare.
Absolutely. So people always say health is wealth and so forth, right? Well, if you live in a community where you don't have an ambulatory care center, you don't have access to fresh food, you don't have good educational systems, then that impacts your health.
What would health equity in this country look like?
Honestly, it's the title of my book. It's taking care of people like your own. So it's really asking yourself, is this what I would want for my mother, for my brother, for my child? And if it's not something that's good enough for your loved one, it's probably not good enough for the patient you're caring for.
Another thing I found is so shocking, 5% of physicians in this country are Black. I thought that number would have been much higher. And so I'm just wondering how that then plays out as far as biases about Black patients.
So we know that one Black person, doctor, in a community improves health outcomes because it's the cultural sensitivity, the lived experience that educates your colleagues. And so when Black Americans represent 4.7% of doctors, but 14% of the population, the representation does not exist. When I graduated from medical school 2 decades ago, the percentage of Black doctors was 5%. 20 years later, it's 5%.
You talk about a number of the obstacles that you experienced, the roadblocks personally as well, even once you got into medical school. But beyond that, what do you think are some real, tangible solutions to these disparities?
So, one, and this is not true for every student of color as they enter medical school, but many are from impoverished areas like I was. And so the playing field is not level when you enter. So I think having a nurturing environment for your student that's coming and is not surrounded by people who look like them and understand them culturally is necessary. The other thing that I would say is that on the admissions committees, when you're looking at the criteria, there also has to be representation there as well. And finally, we in the field of medicine need allies, meaning when something is said that's untoward to a resident by a nurse where it's disrespectful, that someone speaks out against that, because all of that ties into how well you're educated, how well you deliver care to others.
Dr. Ayla Stanford, we thank you so much. Really a powerful book. Take Care of Them Like My Own. Faith, Fortitude, and a Surgeon's Fight for Health Justice is now available wherever books are sold. And still to come, she's breaking down barriers for Jamaican women in reggae music, one hit at a time. Spice, the queen of dancehall, tells us about her new album and the personal stories behind it. Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed. Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska. Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live. ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money. Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good. Very good.
Coming in hot. Jimmy coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too. I'll be here.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm in.
That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, Lara, Ginger.
Our next guest is a Grammy-nominated artist who's making history on the iTunes charts in North America and the UK. She's created music with major artists like Vybz Kartel, Sean Paul, Busta Rhymes, earning the title of Queen of Dancehall. Spice's new album, Mirror 25, celebrates her 25-year-long career in the music industry, breaking barriers for female Jamaican artists. Let's take a listen to one of her singles, Ex-Boyfriend.
Me, you got me, then you turn around and now you lost me. Now sit down in a no man misery, no boy can't disrespect.
Spice joins us now tonight. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Tell me, what was the inspiration behind this latest album?
The inspiration comes from me being in the business for 25 years. I started in 1999. So I'm typically just mirroring my 25 years in dancehall music. So I'm just going back through everything that I managed to overcome being a female artist.
One of those things that you managed to overcome, you have a single on this album called Ex-Boyfriend.
Yes.
And you talked about in an interview with Billboard how you were in a relationship that wasn't so healthy and there was domestic abuse.
Absolutely.
And basically wanted to send this message out to women that they can leave and there's a life on that they can move on to after.
Absolutely, and I want them to see me and know that I'm living, I'm happy, and I'm excited. I feel like oftentimes women are afraid to walk out of a toxic relationship or abusive relationship. And here I am telling them that it's okay to have an ex-boyfriend and move on to the next and not settle for less. So the song is called Ex-Boyfriend, and I'm celebrating just being happy.
You also talk about a health scare where you almost lost your life.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and what made you decide to share it?
I decided to share it because I felt like I was going through a testimony, and it was my job, my duty to share my testimony. God gave me a testimony, so here I am saying I escaped death, and not many people are able to say that, so I felt like I had to share it. I actually included a gospel song on my album called Mirror 25, which is actually #1 currently on the gospel chart. I'm so excited about it because here I am saying, God, you are so worthy. In 2022, I almost lost my life. My hernia erupted and sent my whole body into a sepsis shock, and I almost lost my life, and he saved me, showed up for me. So I'm so happy, so grateful.
Amen. So Mirror 25, you have 25 tracks.
25 songs.
On this album.
Celebrating 25 years.
How do you go through the process? I mean, do you record more songs than that? How do you decide which songs are ultimately going to make the cut?
To be honest, I recorded over 100 songs, and then I selected 25. And I did that because my fan base has grown so tremendously well over the years, and I know that I have a very diverse fan base. So I wanted it to have a little bit of everything, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know, we have to spice it up a little bit so everybody can enjoy something. And so I tell my besties, my fans, that they have something on this album because I was very selective on each sound. It's there for someone.
You've already been in this industry for 25 years, as you mentioned. What's next?
I want to go into movies.
Okay.
I want to do so much. I'm looking for Tyler Perry as we speak because I feel like I could act in one of his movies. But I feel like I've done so much, but I still want to continue to open doors so other girls who look like me can be reminded that it's possible. My slogan is from homeless to greatness, and I just continue to open a lot of doors of opportunity for other women who's going to come after me.
Spice, we thank you
so
much for coming by, and we want to let our viewers know Spice's new album, Mirror 25, is available now on all music streaming platforms. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Linsey Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and, of course, on abcnews.com. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single.